Hey, what's up, my friend? Are you a small family business that loves God, family, country, and capitalism? If so, you are totally in the right place. My name is Joshua Latimer. Welcome to the War Plan Briefing. Can I help you go faster? I don't know. Maybe I can. You're about to find out. Today, we're going to talk about 4 reasons that corrupt politicians could actually be good for your small business. Are you wondering where I'm going with that? Because I think it's actually true. You got to understand that every bad thing has a silver lining. Some things happen to you, but most things happen for you. And with the polarization in our country, I was thinking when I was taking notes for this video, like, what is the silver lining here? Because people are at each other's throats on the internet. Everybody's a keyboard warrior, tough guy on the internet. It's also really difficult to kind of play the middle anymore, right? It's hard for people to be centrist because there's so much pressure on both sides to be extreme and to break into tribes. Now, I personally believe that all this is done literally on purpose. It's architectured out for this result to happen. And maybe I'll make some conspiracy theory videos in the future, but this video is about 4 reasons why it will actually help you to understand the brokenness in our government if you can reframe the way that you think about it. And then one of my favorite quotes is that pressure doesn't create cracks, it exposes cracks. So think about it in your business. You know, a lot of corporate consultants, they use fancy language. And one of the things they call revenue is a stress metric. A stress metric. Imagine a pipe and the water flowing through the pipe is revenue in a business. And there's a really easy way to figure out what systems are broken in your business. It's just cram more revenue through the pipe because it'll start breaking and cracking and all this stuff. But the pressure doesn't create the cracks. It exposes the weaknesses that were already there. And I think in a weird way, this will make sense in a minute as I go through these lists. So the first reason it's good to have corrupt politicians, well, it's not good, but one benefit of the fact that they're wildly debauched, corrupt people is that it forces you to take a stand, right? It truly forces you to take a stand. I think a lot of people are waking up. I think that in the past, we looked at the government as this like trustworthy institution. Maybe not in your lifetime, but my grandparents and your grandparents, for example, they grew up like trusting the newscaster because the newscaster like told the truth and stuff. And the president would do a national address and it was truthful. And those days are gone. You know, Generation Z, is that the most new one, Will? Is it Gen A? Okay, well, Gen A, if that's a thing, and Gen Z, they're the least trustworthy generation ever that we know of. You know, their attention span's shorter, and they're also extremely skeptical of everything because they've been raised and bathed in lies and fake news their whole life. But what's the good thing for you? The good thing is it forces you to figure out who you really are. It forces you to evaluate why you believe what you believe. Can you defend why you believe what you believe? Is it really true, the beliefs that you have about the world, about your business, about your success, about what's holding you back? I think it's good in our brain because it kind of forces us to take a stand for whatever it is, even with your employees and the culture and all this stuff socially happening. It's crazyville. We live in upside downville half the time, and you as a business owner can have some good takeaways from this. The second reason it's good, or a second benefit of having corrupt politicians, is that it pushes you towards self-reliance, which is really good. And the way I view it is like the Red Sea being parted. It either pushes you towards self-reliance or it pushes you into utter dependence. And it's kind of not any middle ground anymore. And for you as an entrepreneur, I already know that you got the right mindset for this stuff. So you're going to become even more self-reliant. You're going to stack your skill sets more because you can see the danger that's happening in the West as a whole, specifically in the United States, with our currency, with the lies, with the games, with the social programming, everything that's happening, even with our money. There's banks failing. There's weird stuff happening. The central banks are introducing, central bank digital currency. I think it's CBCD or whatever, or DC. Just forget the acronym. The point is that there's some scary things happening, but it's good for you to learn how to lean into yourself, to sharpen your own sword, to make deeper connections with people that are actually competent at things. If you don't have a sense of urgency at all, then I'm worried for you. Now, I don't think you should worry. The Bible says, who can add a day to his life by worrying? Nobody can, right? Another good quote about worry is that, worrying is like paying a debt that you don't owe. But at the same time, it makes me nervous for you if you don't see danger that's ahead. And if you don't hide yourself, you don't protect yourself. I want you to be self-reliant because it's the best thing that can happen for you and your family. The government is not your daddy. The government is not your mommy. The government is not here to save you. It's never supposed to have evolved to this point in the first place. But here's where we are, right? The third reason that you could have a positive benefit from the corruption in government is that it pressures you to play defense. And so I have some notes here. It's a lot of smart business owners are diversifying in different ways. They're diversifying the services. They're diversifying their portfolio of how many companies they own. They're diversifying the markets that they're in. They're diversifying their education. They're playing more defense, right? A lot of good football coaches say that defense wins championships. If you look at really wealthy people, they are far more likely to make a less of a return on something that has very little downside than they are to pursue some aggressive, upside that could have a lot of downside. But small business owners kind of do the opposite. We want to play the short game instead of the long game. And that's not good. We need you to plan for the future. We got to understand that these bad things, it's kind of like how diamonds are made out of coal, and the pressure actually can create a good thing. You becoming self-reliant, you diversifying how you make income, maybe having a side hustle on the internet, learning about AI, learning these additional skill sets so that during the 3 months of your seasonal business where you're not working, you can start to play defense or diversify your income. These are really good things. And if you watch the news and you don't come to the conclusion, I should probably level up and get rich a lot faster. I should probably become financially independent way faster. I have more of a sense of urgency after watching CNN than I had before watching CNN. If you're not coming to those conclusions, it makes me nervous. You should be coming to these conclusions. They're logical and they're rational. The good news, though, is that there's never been a better time in human history to do these things. You can do impossible things so freaking fast because of the leverage of software and education and everything that's available to you. But you got to get on your horse and go ride it. We got to do it now. Do it now, okay? And the last but not least reason that debauched, decadent, bloated, disgusting government could be good for you is that it makes it easier to rely on God. Back to the mommy-daddy analogy, entitled people, believe that the government owes them something. What they don't understand is that the government is nothing more than an institution to basically redistribute money that it doesn't produce. The government doesn't produce value. It redistributes and manages things and regulates things, and there's bureaucracy. And I'm not like an anarchist or something. I think the original structure of America was one of the most brilliant things ever, like a representative republic and the way that works and how the smaller states still have leverage against the big, Los Angeleses and New York cities. And just, it's really smart, my understanding of how they did that. But the reality is where we are now is that people view government as mommy and daddy. They want their stimulus check from Uncle Joe, and they think that that's good. They think that they're entitled to it. No, you're not. And it's not good even for you receiving it in the long run. It's a tax on the poor. Not to mention the fact that it devalues our currency. The real problem is the way that it frames people's brains to believe that they need to suck the teat of the freaking government. This is awful. It breaks my heart. It crushes me because they just don't know. These people don't know. If they only knew a portion of what I knew, what you knew, it would change things. So what are you going to do about it? Well, number one, understand that government's not your mommy and daddy. Number two, realize that you were literally made on purpose for a purpose. You were born for such a time as this. You're not a cosmic accident. There wasn't a lightning strike that hit a pile of goo, that formed some amino acids into a chain, that formed the right proteins, that evolved into you. That is not what happened. You were hand designed because every watch has a watchmaker, and you were stitched together in your mother's womb. And you're an entrepreneur because you're supposed to be. You're a movement maker, a job creator, and a world changer if you want to be. My suggestion to you is to look at all the decadence and the filth and say, you know what, God? I know that you got this. I know that you have good things planned for me. I also know it rains on the just and the unjust alike, but I choose to have joy in my heart while I walk towards adversity fearlessly because I know that I can't lose when I'm in business with you, God. I know that I am not a cosmic accident, God, and that my business is destined to win. Look, reframe your brain like this. It'll set you on fire. It'll set your team on fire in a good way. And you could really move the needle. Hey, I hope you're getting value out of these videos. We're putting a lot of work into them. We have like lights and cameras and studios and notes, and it's a whole thing. And then the editors are working, they're like slaving. They're like sweating, and they're editing and clipping and doing funny memes. Could you say like if you like it in the comments, or if you have a criticism in the comments? Even if you're a hater, you can still comment because it juices the algorithm. Like 4 more people will see the video. So I'd love to hear your story. I can't wait to meet you. And until next time, bye for now.